We last left off, the party had separated. Samael stayed behind at the Cathedral of the Cleansing Flame, while Siegfried headed off to his enclave. Zara, Byron, and Nicholas traveled into the Hywells district of Lower Tavik's Landing. After setting their sky coach down, the group headed inside the Grey Sword Tavern. Inside, they found the traveling author, Volathomp Gadarm, hanging out at the bar. The eccentric wizard greeted the characters and pointed them towards the banquet chamber. Volo also offered the party the option to get cleaned up before dinner in one of the 3 rooms that he had secured for them. One by one, the rest of the party trickled into the tavern for the dinner party, including their new friend Bryn and Byron's girlfriend, Linda Wrighton. After some frivolity and hilarity involving Bryn and some torches, the group all cleaned themselves up and settled into the banquet chamber for dinner. A little while afterwards, Volo entered the chamber. As the festivities began, a mask of concern on his face. Noticing his anxiety, Siegfried asked the wizard what was troubling him. Volathomp then began to explain that his friend and business partner, Floon Blagmar, had failed to arrive for the dinner party and was not responding to his sending spell. The worried author then asked the characters if they would find and return his friend alive if possible, expecting foul play would be involved. He gave each of the characters 10 gold apiece and offered them 10 times as much upon his friend's safe return. He mentioned that Floon had last been seen earlier in the day at the Skewered Dragon, a tavern located in Cliffside. Volo recommended that the group start their search there. The group vowed to find Volo's friend and finish their dinner. And Zara had an odd encounter with Bryn that ended in her accidentally burning his robes with her bare hands. As the group parted ways, settled into their rooms for the evening, and they took a much-deserved long rest. The next morning, the party began their day bright and early, assembling outside in the alley in front of the tavern. As the group headed towards the sky coach, they found the owner of the vehicle lounging within. Isabel apologized to the group once again and recovered her vehicle from the party, offering one last ride to any destination within the city, free of charge, of course. The group declined this offer and instead summoned Mr. R., a warforged flying coach driver. Isabel bid the characters farewell and took off into the air. After the coachman arrived, the party traveled to Cliffside and located the tavern that Volo had mentioned. The characters discovered a collection of drunks and destitute individuals within. Upon questioning a rotund man, the party learned that 2 similar-looking men left the tavern together yesterday and headed north, both with strawberry blonde hair and wearing fancy clothing. 5 men immediately followed afterwards as soon as the men left together. The 5 men had been noticed frequently hanging around a Boromar Clan warehouse in the Greyflood district at the end of Candle Lane. After having some refreshments, the party ventured north towards the Greyflood district and eventually found themselves at the end of Candle Lane, just outside the fenced-in yard of the warehouse. The characters began to enter the compound with a moderate amount of stealth, while the sorcerer took a more direct approach. Bryn headed towards the front door and peeked inside of the peephole, noticing the shadows moving and sounds from inside. Samael stepped forth and broke the door down, announcing the group's presence to anyone inside. Suddenly, several bipedal birdmen emerged from the shadows and rushed at the paladin, swords drawn. And I need everyone to roll initiative.
Bum, bum, bum.
Yes.
Could you either grant access to my character to Derek or roll for me.
Yes, I can grant access to Derek. Alright. You should be able to claim him now. And Derek, if you'd like to roll your stealth check, you may. Or stealth, yes.
Alright. I should still be stealthed. I had a 23 or 24 last time.
Yeah, you guys shouldn't be rolling stealth again, I should mention that. This is only for Derek since he didn't get a chance to.
Yeah, Byron, you failed last time. You stubbed your toe.
Alright. Nicholas, on your turn. Looking around within the fenced-in yard, you see no movement immediately outside of the building. You just observe Samael kick in the front door and begin heading inside.
Can I see anything?
At the moment, all you see is the back of Samael.
I'm gonna draw my pistol. Oh, hey, you might want to lock these things. I can do that.
There we go.
Alright, there we go. I'm gonna move right here to see if I can get a better visual on what's going on.
Okay.
So, like sneaking, walking, and then yeah, I'm gonna draw my pistol and hold my.
Okay.
I'm gonna fire when I. Down my turn.
Okay. Zar from behind you and Byron from behind you, you hear the sound of sliding wood on metal and metal rollers. And the doors immediately behind you open up.
He's my line of sight now, Jeremy.
He is not. You're not looking at him. You can roll a perception to see if you've heard the doors opening. I would say that you had just enough time to turn around and see the doors parting, and you see several Kinku pulling back short bows, getting ready to unload on your wife.
Can I now use my held action to fire?
Yes, you may. The loud crack, boom, explodes within the yard. And Zara, you feel a hot wind pass by your ear.
Literally.
Does that complete your action, Nicholas?
Yes, it does.
The Kinku reels back in pain and then pulls back and looses his arrow, attempting to fire at Zara. Laughing as he does. And an arrow strikes you right above your breastplate and your shoulders.
Ugh.
And you take 5 damage as the arrow is now sunk several inches into your flesh.
Whether Francis gonna attack him opportunity?
No, because he came at him at an angle. He's too far away.
Okay.
Samael, the Kinku in front of you rushes into your threatening and swings its short sword at you. Striking you in the side of your arm as you're getting ready to ready your weapon and attacking back. Dealing 4 damage. And Samael, it is your turn.
Very well.
You raise up your weapon and stab at the creature, getting it square in the side of its neck. Hot blood splashing on your hand.
Okay, I'll wait my turn.
As you stab the Kinku in the side of its neck, you hear a scuttling sound and barrels knocking over as another Kinku rushes around the corner straight at you from the side. For some reason it thought I was attacking itself.
Yes, and it's
Here.
There we go. So now you feel the stab of another short sword reaching underneath your armor and catching you in your side. Another Kinku rushes forward, its full movement to get out, and is immediately stopped in shock at the sight of a small displacer cub in front of it. The Kinku dogpile continues as Kinku number 2 attempts to stab Samael in the face with his short sword. But just misses him as Samael, taking attacks from 2 different Kinku now, ducks down and the sword stabs just over his head. Byron, it's your turn. You see a Kinku standing directly over your displacer cub and another one that seems to be attacking Zara, or getting ready to attack him with a short sword.
Oh, attack on 1. Actually, I'm gonna cast a spell for 100 mark.
Okay.
Not on me. Target's gonna be on.
Yeah, you have that on yourself twice now. What are you trying to put it on?
Oh, on King Kufa. I have him targeted. I don't know why I didn't do it on.
Did you drop the effect onto his token?
Yeah, but it put it. Oh no, I guess it's me. I get the. Oh, we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see if it rolls damage on you.
Oh,
Exactly, so.
Your arrow goes
Oh,
wide.
yeah.
Your arrow goes wide over into the yard, thunking against the side of the wooden fence.
that's the one.
Okay. Zara, what would you like to do on your turn?
I'm going to go ahead and swing at this thing with my my axe.
I just realized I forgot to roll initiative for Bryn.
Oh, he goes well
Well, he's going last anyway.
last.
So we got some.
All right, and I'm gonna swing a warhammer.
It's definitely a hit. You swing your warhammer around and smack the creature in the side of its bill, doing 3 damage to it.
Yay!
The creature kind of shakes its head like, oh.
Wow.
The last Hinku sprints out into the yard, pulls its short bow back, and looses an arrow, knocks an arrow, and fires it at Siegfried.
Yeah, my clothes.
The arrow arcs across the field and catches you, Siegfried, right in your leg. And it is your turn. Siegfried, it's your turn.
I bet. No, what's wait.
Would you like to hold your action?
No, but you know, this latest development makes a change in plans, but I wasn't.
It's okay, you can hold your action if you want.
This note whispers on.
It rolled a 20 and succeeded. Ethereal sounds coalesce around the head of the creature, and it shakes its bill wildly and reels back a bit before staring at you and pulling its short bow again, knocking an arrow, looking like it's going to fire at you again. What would you like to do, Siegfried? It's your turn. Still.
Maybe my
Bryn, looking around in shock, turns and looks at his newfound friends. And he's going to fire a firebolt at the Kinku that is currently attacking Zara. And he misses. That's bad. Tell me if 7 Nicholas, it is your turn again.
Does the club get to go?
Oh, we didn't roll, sorry, he should have acted. Let me roll his,
I don't have it.
I'll drop it on you. It's okay, he goes last anyway. So you may take Francis's turn if you like, Byron.
I know.
So I can't move to my
What would you like him to do?
Move one at a time.
Sorry, you broke up there. You sound like a robot. I need to
I'll
change.
move one to the left.
Okay.
Attack King to number 3. Any mess.
Alright. If you have access to a sheet, you should be able to do his attack.
Oh, fuck. Can he disengage?
What's that?
Can he disengage?
Well, he shifted 5 feet, so he didn't break threat with the other Kinky.
Okay. Then, yeah. He moves to the
Hey, alright. I'm putting my bonus action there.
Okay.
To put my pistol away and draw my short sword.
Okay. I thought it took an action. I thought it was part of your action to do that.
Is it?
Pretty sure drawing another. You can drop your pistol, and as part of your action, draw your weapon. But putting a weapon away is considered an action.
Alright. Then I'm gonna draw my short sword.
Okay. So yeah, you could drop your pistol right in front of you and just draw your short sword.
How high is the door?
It's a standard sized door, so just over 6.5 feet tall.
You can go right there. And can I visually see angle? Can I get like a stab in?
You would have to get into the room to attack any of those Kinku with your sword.
Can I push by?
Yeah, you can move past Samael as long as you don't end your turn like in another character's NPC's place. You can totally do that. Okay. That is hit. And as you sidestep past Samael and thrust your short sword right into the beak of the creature, it cuts through its beak, going out the top of its head, and falls to the floor.
Is drawing a weapon bonus action?
Nope. It's an action.
No, like drawing a weapon. So I draw my.
It's part of your action. It's part of your action to draw a weapon. If you have another weapon in your hand, you could technically be holding your pistol in one hand and your short sword in the other. So you don't have to drop your pistol to use your short sword. So you could say you could say that you had both of them in your hand.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah. I was gonna say that attack wouldn't have worked then. Okay. Yeah. All right, we'll say that. And then I'm going to here. That might hurt.
Okay. Secret number 3 is going to continue its assault on Zara, striking with its short sword. Looking a bit worse for wear. And in doing so, you can see that its attack is a bit weaker now because one of its arms is gashed really horribly and blood is leaking out of it. It swings just above your head. And Samael, it's your turn.
Very well.
That is definitely a hit. Striking the creature in the side of its chest. Its tunic is now bloodied. Its blood is now coating the Keeper's Fang dagger that you hold in your hand. The Kinku looks down at its chest in horror and stabs out at you with its short sword. And it catches you right in your clavicle. Kinku number 5 is going to step forward, seeing a direct path to Byron, and is going to attempt to stab Byron with his blade. But it misses him. Byron just manages to duck and weave out of the way of its strike. The Kinku that was attacking Samael, seeing a new target approaching it, draws its weapon back and attempts to stab it. Let's see if it can actually detect you. Oh, he saw you. But he rolled a natural 1. He was so startled at the sight of his friend getting stabbed to death. Byron, it's your turn.
I'm gonna draw my scimitar and strike it.
Okay. That is a miss, unfortunately. Your scimitar, you swing wide and your sword strikes against the wall. Chunks of wood spraying over the Kinku's head.
Now move there.
Okay. As you move away, the Kinku is going to attempt to strike at you. In response to you attempting to slash at it, and it manages to clip you on your side as you run away from it. Zara, it's your turn.
Alright, I am going to slash 3 and
smash the creature with your warhammer, an overhand strike, and its long bill shatters into chunks, and you just see it sputtering as it dies in front of you.
Alright. And I'm gonna yell, hey, how's everyone doing? Anyone need healing? And any response?
Everybody.
Nothing.
I think everybody needs something. I will wait for my turn.
Zara, as you turn to your left, you see the displacer cub looks like it's getting menaced by the Kinku just next to you. And you see another one just 15 feet away from you with an arrow knocked, looking like it's about to fire either at you or at Siegfried.
Nice up.
Well, you're not sure who he's firing at.
Okay. I mean, I'm curious. Can I actually drop this? I don't know if that's what
You could use your action to dodge. Unfortunately, you're not a rogue, so you don't get to use it as a cunning action, as a bonus action.
Okay. I'll have to duck anyway. And
The Kinku, with its arrow knocked, looses the arrow. And the arrow arcs across just past your face, Zara, and strikes Siegfried in his shoulder. These Kinku aren't messing around, guys. Siegfried is looking real bad.
and Zara seeing that is like, oh.
The Kinku begins cawing loudly in the air, drops its short bow and pulls its sword, and looks like it's getting ready to stalk towards you, Zara. And Siegfried, it's your turn.
He's gonna move over and he's gonna try to throw the dagger.
Okay. That's definitely a hit. You pull your dagger and hurl it. It tumbles end over end and sinks into the flesh of the Kinku as it rushes towards Zara. The dagger is now stuck in the side of the Kinku. It reels in pain and looks towards you.
Siegfried flips it off.
Would you like to do anything else?
Run?
I don't know, but if you haven't seen, there's not enough space to actually get away.
You're fine.
Listen, my 24 stealth gonna keep this shit off of me. Hiding behind you is not gonna keep it off.
I mean, it might help for like one round, you know? Zara can get up and actually.
Bren is going to attempt Ray of Frost this time. Begins weaving his hands in the air and coalescing. Ice begins to form. And it strikes out at the Kinku next to the Displacer Beast. And hits it. Hooray! And deals, oh my goodness, 1 damage. Thanks, Bren.
Hey, you know, it's his first time, like, fighting,
Alright, what would you like Francis to do, Byron?
I'm attacking 2-1.
growls and scratches with its claws, unfortunately. The claws just sort of skid across the creature's furry, feathery legs and don't really do much. Would you like it to do anything else? Would you like it to stay there or move?
Move 1 south.
Okay. Nicholas, it's your turn. Nicholas, are you there?
Yes. I'm going to. I'm thinking.
Would you like to hold your action?
No, I'm gonna. I was gonna see if I can get over there and help Siegfried, but it's more useful to pick someone else at the moment.
That's definitely a hit. You catch the creature in its arm.
Disengage.
Okay.
I'm going right here.
As you back away from the creature, stabbing it, it looks at you in horror, and then you very deftly run out the door and around your friends, stepping in front of Siegfried.
And I'm gonna take whatever comes at him. So if I get hit by like if an arrow shot at him, I'm gonna purposely jump in front of him.
All right.
My turn there.
Samael, it's your turn.
Okay, why not? I will use my lay on hands ability to heal the full 10 points of damage. My turn.
Okay. So you'll only be down 4 points of damage if you do that.
That's correct.
And is that a bonus action or an action?
That is a full action.
Okay. You are healed up. You feel the warmth from your hands as you touch your body, and you feel yourself renewed and rejuvenated slightly.
Very well. I'll end my turn.
The Kinku that's in your face, Samael, it has eyes of murder now, and it yells into your face. Zash sends his regards. It attempts to stab you with its short sword. Unfortunately, it just glances off of your armor, sparks flying. And if it was smiling before, it doesn't appear to be smiling now. Number 5, Kinku. Turning and looking at the tiny cat, seeing it doesn't appear to be that much of a threat to it, turns his attention to Bryn now, and pulls his short sword out, and he attempts to run away. You can get an opportunity attack on Kinku number 5 if you'd like, from Francis.
Alright. Hey man, those kitty scratches are nasty.
Ah, that's true.
Yeah, when he scratches. That's 3 5s in a row. 3 5.
That's a break. Against cat.
I bet if it was a hamster, it would have been a natural 20.
You know what? I think you're right.
Kinku runs up and stabs at Byron, or excuse me, Bryn. Get my B names mixed up. And for anyone watching, you watch as the Kinku seems to pin Bryn to the wall through his arm with his short sword. Bryn howls in pain. Team number 2 is going to shift around. Samael.
That's all I want. He's not coming through this door.
Oh, damn. He missed anyway. It looked like he was still aiming at Nicholas.
He rammed his head into the wall.
I'll just say that he missed you. And Byron, it's your turn.
Awesome. Let's see if I can roll better than a 5.
Friendly neighborhood DM.
That's definitely a hit.
Definitely more than a 5.
So, Byron, you watched as the Kinku pinned Bryn's bicep into the wooden wall with its short sword, and it was laughing in its face. And then your arrow arced across and went straight through its ear hole, through its brain, and it is now pinned to the wall, hanging dead.
The bonus action, I will transfer my hunter's mark.
Okay.
And I roll it in my app.
Zara, it's your turn. You've been watching with some amusement as Francis has been protecting you, scratching the legs of this Kinku, which has been more of an annoyance than anything else.
Alright, I'm just gonna go ahead and try to kill this thing off.
That's definitely a hit. And you bash the creature with your warhammer in the side of its face.
And I'm gonna run over to Siegfried. Well, all the way on the other side of the farm.
Okay.
And
Okay. Siegfried, on your turn, what would you like to do?
Arrows! They're so big. And I am it.
Okay. Bryn is going to attempt to pull the sword out of the wall. He's currently pinned to the wall. And he just works it this way and that way and yanks the sword out from his bicep and the wall and is unpinned. Turns around and sees you all cuddle up in the corner. He turns around and sees there's no other attackers in the yard, so he's going to hold his action. And it is Francis's turn.
Francis is going to move just south of Byron.
So, like, right there?
Yeah. Oh, in the and then he's just going to check on Siegfried, make sure he's okay and still alive.
Okay. Siegfried, Francis is now purring and yowling and crawling all over you and licking your face.
Siegfried's eyes turn into stars of adoration.
And Nicholas, it is your turn.
I'm going to run past and push through Samuel again.
Okay. As you burst into the room again, the two Kinku that were attacking Samael immediately drop their weapons and attempt to run away from the two of you. It looks like they're getting ready to sprint away from you.
I'm going to tell him, freeze!
And they just kind of stop and stare at you. You can roll an intimidation or persuasion. In response to your saying freeze, both of the Kinku stare at you, and you hear your voice in stereo as it says, they both say, freeze! 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 And they have their hands out in front of them and sort of an apologetic, please don't kill me.
If he attempts to run, I'm gonna swing, but if he doesn't, I'm gonna hold my action.
Okay. You're both out. You are all out of combat at the moment.
Okay. They're brought manacle. Looking right now.
Siegfried pulls the arrows out of himself and just.
Did Kinko 2 attack me?
What's that?
Did Kinko 2 attack me?
Oh yeah, big time.
Okay. Alright.
I'm also going to help Siegfried gently remove the arrows with my healing touch, and I'm going to cast something. 1 second. Coordinating computers.
Do you have healing word?
I've got it.
Yes,
Give me 1
I have
second.
healing word. I'm going to use healing word on him.
I think it affects everyone.
Or hold on. No, it's just 1 for now.
He has cure wounds. Cure wounds is probably
Yeah,
more effective.
Cure wounds better. Okay, I'm gonna cast cure wounds.
Whoops. I cast it.
Okay.
First.
All right. Well, anyone else need healing? All right, guys.
Ren has a hole in his arm. Oh,
All right. Well,
So, Nicholas, what do we do with these guys?
Samael and Nicholas, as the combat is now ended and everything is settling, and you see these two Kinku that are a little worse for wear, and they're staring. Their sort of eyes are dodging back and forth, staring from you to Samael towards the exit, and then looking around the room. Nicholas, Samael, looking around the room, you see what looks to be several corpses littering the floor. Bodies leaning against crates, bodies strewn against weapons laying everywhere around the room. You see, all in all, about 12 individuals, all dead, laying around. And they all appear to be human.
I would like to use my divine sense to see if the Kinku register as evil or not.
How's that shit work?
It detects evil.
Oh, okay.
And also, Jeremy, at this point, I want to start tying them up. I'm going to pull out my rope and start tying their hands and their feet to get. I'm going to start with Kinko number 2.
Okay.
Zara's gonna.
Byron is going to take his robes off and start inspecting it. He now has multiple holes in it. First, 2 holes from last night, and now a hole from a sword stabbing through the arm.
That
Byron.
detect for evil is 60 foot, by the way.
Okay. You get the sense that they're not so much evil creatures. They're more... they're not evil, they're not good. They're more like a flight of fancy. A very... a chaotic creature. A go with the flow.
If they're not registering a strong sense of evil, I see no reason to execute them. I'll put my dagger away and let Nicholas do his thing.
Zara's gonna go around to all the corpses and see if she can detect any vitals or how warm they are, if she can assess how they were killed, and if any of them are the description of the partner.
Okay. I would say that a simple perception or investigation would do.
Alright.
By the way.
Perception.
Jeremy,
Yes, sir.
is that in the
Oh,
center
come on.
to the north of me?
Come
Is that
on.
stairs or just a big...
That is a set of stairs heading upwards. And just beyond that, there is looks like to be a closet door underneath the stairs. And just above you, the structure itself is 2 stories high, appears to be. And you can see that there is an area just above in the vaulted ceiling with a railing that arcs around the top, so that you can get to the 2nd floor if you wanted to.
Well, I'm going to just stand at the bottom stairs with my bow ready. Hold my action in case anyone pops out.
Okay.
Or actually, can I go here and cover the door after?
Sure thing. Zara, I would say that after a while, you don't notice any of them appear to be alive. In fact, the bodies seem to be cold, as if this skirmish took place a while ago.
Okay.
Siegfried's gonna investigate around to see what kind of stuff that's hidden around here. If there's anything sketchy or related to anything of his.
Okay. What are you just looking around the room, or are you looking in anything in particular?
Just around the room and.
What is that noise?
Sorry,
like
fire
a-
alarm. It's been wacky.
Okay. I thought there was some weird feedback going through your
You
microphone.
know, that's why I was trying to make it quick.
Okay. Go ahead and roll a perception. And what are the rest of you doing? Zara, you're checking the bodies. Byron, you're watching with your arrow knocked.
Tripping over the body.
Have Francis go and hang by the closet door.
Okay. Francis
Wish him
pads
well.
past you to the closet door. And the moment it gets to the closet door, it begins pawing at the door.
Yes.
All right.
Somehow you're going out into the yard.
Yes, Nicola and I are taking the Kinko out into the yard.
Yeah, I'm tying. I tied them up, their hands and feet, and I'm gonna just lay them, sit them by the door out in the yard, and then wait, leave them there so that we can come back and get the guards and they can blah blah blah. As I'm reading their rights and show my badge, you know.
Someone's
Give the
going
rights and ready silent.
to just stay in.
Brink, stay and guard him.
Yeah.
And Brent is still looking at his robe in disgust. And he just looks at you, Samael, and then he points at his robe, and then he looks at you, and he just kind of scoffs. Ugh, this is gonna take hours to mend.
Oh, that's
Well,
fine, man. You can mend it up while you're watching these two guys. Rumor has it they don't even like torches.
Oh, so I can light them on fire then? And he pulls out a torch.
Do
And
what you need to do, man.
he pulls out a torch, and he begins walking towards one of the birds, looking like he's getting ready to set one of them on fire.
If they do anything funny, set them on fire. Otherwise, just let them be.
He's holding the torch inches away from one of their beaks, and the creature is going from the heat.
Hey, Bryn, they're fine. They're tied up. Unless they escape, don't hurt them. The guards will come get them when we're done with this.
You sure
watch
about
them.
that? One of their friends pinned me to the wall like I was a bug on a plate.
Well, they surrendered. You know, it's only honorable, and it's the law that we keep them alive unless they try to kill you. Then you know you can kill them. But they're tied up. They're defenseless.
Okay. I'll just let you know now. If it looks at me funny again, I'm going to burn his beak off.
Maybe I should do the watching.
No, it'll be fine. I have
Oh.
faith in Brent.
I'll open up the door with a scimitar in the closet.
Okay. Within the closet, you see a couple of smaller barrels, and you see a crate. And immediately to your right, looking into the room, you see a tarpaulin that seems to be covering something.
What does Francis do?
Francis immediately rushes into the room and starts yowling and sniffing around the tarpaulin.
All right, I'll take the tarpaulin off of whatever it is.
Okay.
A elder dragon emerges.
As you get closer and pulling the tarpaulin back, you can hear ragged breathing coming from underneath it. And you see a man with strawberry blonde hair, appears to be marred with grime, and he stinks of fish or pickled herring. And his eyes sort of flutter awake. He is currently bound, hands and feet. And he looks up at you and he says, "Oh, thank the gods. You're not here to hurt me, are you?"
No, we're looking for you, I believe. I'll cut him free.
Okay. You cut his bonds free, and the man stands up, and he reaches out and he puts his hand on your shoulder and he says, "Well met, my friend. Thank you so much."
Well, step on outside. There's others with.
Very well, I can do that. And the unknown man steps out into the room with you. The rest of the group, you turn and look around as Byron emerges from this closet that was underneath the stairwell with a man with strawberry blonde hair. And he looks around the room at the bodies and then to you all. And he says, "Well, it's true then. They are at open war." "And who are all of you? What are you all doing here? Did you kill all these people?"